Good afternoon, good morning. This is the Board of County Commissioners Board Work Session. This is a regular meeting. It is Wednesday, March 15th, 2023. It is 10:03 a.m. We do have a hard stop at 10:30 a.m. This is a hybrid meeting. We're at 3000 Pacific Avenue Southeast, room 110. For public virtual attendance, you may follow along on the Thurston County YouTube channel. I'm Carolina Mejia. I'm the chair of the board. To my right is Vice Chair Ty Menser. Commissioner Edwards might be joining us via Zoom. If not, he is excused for this meeting. The topics on today's agenda is the CPA-16 Community-Driven Agricultural Policies and Programs Open Space Program Update. So we have Joshua Cummings, our CPA Director, as well as the staff, and who am I handing this up to?
County Manager, did you have anything to add?
No, just go ahead for the sake of time.
So we're excited, CPA, to continue to bring these items with CPA-16 related to community-driven agriculture. You're going to see multiple meetings on different topics, and the way that it's been helpful for me to think about these is multiple tools in the toolbox. And so what Ashley has done as the great member of our staff dedicated to agriculture in our community is to take a look at those tools, bring those tools to the Planning Commission, to the public, to the community, and to the Board of County Commissioners to inform you on those tools and to see where we can potentially sharpen those tools. And so you're gonna see multiple briefings. We have another one this afternoon at what time?
Noon.
At noon. So you're gonna see us come back and you're gonna see little pieces of the toolbox come to you. And so this is just one of those opportunities to learn about the tools that we have for supporting agriculture in our community. Go for it, Ashley.
Good morning. So Ashley Rye, Community Agriculture Program Manager here for Thurston County. It is nice to be here again presenting on an agricultural related topic, and you will see me again at noon. So next slide, please. Today, I will provide some background on the board's open space program and public benefit rating system before sharing the current proposal to expand program eligibility for farmlands. Next slide. So this project is just one piece of CPA-16, the Community-Driven Review of Agricultural Policies and Programs, and was identified as a priority in the 2021 Community Agriculture Survey for conservation program improvements. It is seen as a helpful tool by the community for encouraging landowners to keep their property in farm use. And the project goal, as we move forward with this, was to expand the number of farms that are eligible to receive these tax incentives under the open space program. Next slide. So community planning worked closely with the Agriculture Advisory Committee on this project to develop a recommendation for updating the open space tax program, and this does differ from the assessor's office one. So in the summer of 2021, we held 2 meetings with an Agriculture Advisory Subcommittee to develop preliminary proposals. Those were then brought to the full committee for 3 meetings to shape into a final recommendation for the board's consideration. And since the open space tax program is not subject to Growth Management Act requirements for public review, the Board of County Commissioners do have the authority to update the program requirements following just one public hearing. So one of the differences you'll see in this review process is that we spent a lot more time with the Agriculture Advisory Committee rather than Planning Commission because it's related to farm and agricultural conservation lands. Next slide, thank you. So what is this open space tax program for farm and agricultural conservation land? So the board's open space tax program is a tax incentive program that allows owners of certain types of high quality undeveloped land to apply for a property tax reduction in exchange for maintaining their land in that rural undeveloped state. So agricultural properties, including those that no longer qualify for the assessor's current use tax program, can be considered under this one as farm and agricultural conservation land. And through this program, they'll qualify for reduced property taxes based on the reduced market value in exchange for being maintained in that open farmland state. Next slide, please. So how does eligibility work? Properties must meet basic eligibility requirements that are established in state law. They must apply for the program and go through a fairly rigorous public review process that involves review by the Planning Commission as well as the board. And then they're scored using a public benefit rating system. The score that they receive equates to the tax reduction on the land only. Reduction can be 50%, 70%, or 90% of the market value of the land, depending on the property's score. The county does have flexibility in how this scoring system is applied, which is how we then have the potential to expand the eligibility of it. The program is designed to encourage long-term enrollment rather than short-term enrollment. So when a property owner leaves the program, for example, to develop their property for another use, they are required under state law to pay 7 years of back taxes and potentially interest and even penalty fees. Some property owners who are eligible, but who do not have long-term plans to maintain their property as undeveloped open space or farmland, are not likely interested in enrolling in this tax program. Next slide, please. So for the current program, to be eligible, land either must be previously enrolled in the assessor's current use tax program, or it must be zoned for long-term agriculture and be at least 20 acres in size if there's a house on it. There are also commercial agricultural use requirements, so how much money that landowner is making off of the agricultural use of their property. Under the current program, we estimate that there are only about 2,000 acres that are currently eligible but not enrolled. Next slide, please. So here in Thurston County, the majority of farms are located outside of long-term agriculture zoning. They're often smaller too, with the median farm size being just over 15 acres. And so the Agriculture Advisory Committee was looking at this. They wanted to propose a set of updates to reflect these characteristics of our agricultural economy and provide incentives to retaining these properties also in open farmland. So with the updates, parcels outside of long-term agricultural zoning would be eligible with proper documentation of that commercial agriculture use. The program updates would also reduce the minimum parcel size to 1 acre and allow farms to be awarded points for other open space benefits such as wildlife habitat that might exist on their land. And under the new provisions, we estimate upwards of 40,000 acres of land would be eligible if they can fulfill the agriculture use requirements or even interested in joining the program. So moving ahead, if the eligibility was expanded, we do plan on launching an education and outreach campaign with our partners here to try to get more properties enrolled, since it is seen as a benefit to them. We also received a grant within the last few weeks that will allow us to take a broader look at any other updates we might want to make to the open space program. And after that, we can just have a much more successful program. Next slide, please. So at this point, I am open to questions. The next step for staff would be to submit an AIS with the hopes of having a public hearing before the board in early May.
So just the big takeaway, I think I heard a recommendation from the Ag Committee. It currently stands to use this open space tax program. You have to have 20 acres and be in the LTA. And the Ag Advisory Committee said, how about 1 acre and not be in the LTA?
If you can show you the.
Yeah, and essentially use the same kind of commercial agriculture requirements that the assessor's office uses in terms of providing that evidence.
So it could really open it up.
How many, you said 2,000 acres are eligible now, but how many are actually using it? How many have it?
Oh,
that are
so
ag connected?
yeah, so the program overall, the Board's Open Space Program has about 3,200 acres enrolled as of the end of 2021. I am not sure exactly what percentage of those represent the farm and agricultural conservation land, but we could get that information prior to a public hearing.
Probably small now, right?
It's probably a small amount, yes.
Because the ones that I've seen had nothing to do with ag, the ones that have come before the board since I've been here.
Yeah, and a lot of them, a lot of the larger ag properties will opt for the assessor's program, the current use tax incentive program. So this is really just an option for those that aren't eligible for that because there is a minimum parcel size.
So the assessor's program, so I understand that it's different in your mind, but it's kind of mixed in my mind. So how many people are using that program through the assessor for agricultural?
About 32,000 acres. are enrolled in the assessor's current use program for agriculture. And that covers agricultural uses both inside the long-term ag zoning as well as outside the long-term agriculture zoning. And the eligibility for that is established in state law.
Okay, so we have. Significant enough that we know that people will use this program if. It's not, I mean, we have other programs, right, like transfer development rights and stuff, it's like created a program, but very few people have ever used it. That's not the case, doesn't sound like here. You've got, at least through the assessor program, you've got a lot of ag people who are willing to go through the requirements of, you know, and then suffer the potential consequences of paying the back taxes if they.
Stop, yeah.
Okay, so this could be more powerful than I thought.
Asked a
I think
lot, but yeah.
okay.
I don't really have, you know, Commissioner Menzer asked a lot of my questions. I'm just, I think opening it up, you know, I think that's been one of the main complaints I've heard is the 20 acres was very difficult for some of the local farmers to achieve. So reducing it to 1 acre would definitely open it up. Commissioner Edwards? Commissioner Edwards, can you hear me?
Sounded too good.
So the next step would, you know, do you need a decision point at this time? Oh,
Could
Robin.
I,
Yeah,
do we have any idea what the value of the tax reduction for the participants is?
It's a complex calculation based on that individual property, because they have to pull out any of the improvements and just look at the land only. And so for each individual property, it's gonna be a different calculation. However, I know that as the individual applications go through the process for open space, that is something that we usually work with the assessor's office to at least try to get an estimate of.
And you gave
Any
we gave a
idea,
percentage
you know,
reduction.
about how much?
Oh,
You
Was it-
gave
It's
it.
an escalated process.
She said it. Say the escalator process.
Oh,
50, 70,
yeah,
90.
yeah, it depending on how many points are received, there's a 50, 70, or 90% reduction.
in property tax?
After the buildings have been removed.
Sure. So remember that the overall levy doesn't change. So when these taxpayers pay less, and I acknowledge it's probably not a lot of money, but it would be good to know, everybody else pays more.
So, and we did check in with Dorina with that specific question, and she said probably be pennies on the dollar for any particular, I even wrote it down here, for any given tax code area, and she zoomed into.
That's right, but the money's distributed because the levy amount doesn't change. The amount of our levies.
It's the taxing district continues, is spread out to the
Exactly,
to the
it's
rest of
spread
the
out
general
amongst
district.
everyone, so everyone wouldn't pay a lot more because this is probably not a lot of money. But do remember that it's not that the county would collect less.
okay. It would just be, that was gonna be my.
Yeah, it's spread amongst all the other taxpayers.
Now, since you incentivize with this proposal, you may be incentivized to, you know, for
Make
less.
it big, yeah.
Like, so, smaller properties, the program will be bigger and they,
Pushing the tax
Burden.
burden out.
so, but I think it's all about that balance, right? And
Exactly. Not saying you shouldn't do it, just saying keep that in mind.
Commissioner Edwards, can you hear us? Any further questions?
So with your concurrence then, if Commissioner Edwards doesn't have any questions, staff will bring an AIS for you to consider a public hearing, setting a public hearing.
Oh yeah, one more question. So I was going through, I've been holding some of the materials that I got from the public, till we actually got to this topic. So I was reading the letter, I don't know when it came in, a few months ago probably at this point, but there was like a detailed letter from the Agriculture Advisory Committee on all the programs they wanted us to launch. And there was another letter from another member of the Agriculture Advisory Committee saying, don't do any of that, that's all wrong and bad. Are you guys familiar with the?
I am, yes.
So I guess, does this program fit into one of those? I can't remember if they were talking about this, I don't remember.
In general, the Agriculture Advisory Committee is supportive of the recommendation to expand the eligibility. I think they were talking about, different programs that did not speak to this one.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I just wanted to confirm that.
Yeah.
I don't think this one came up in that.
And they have been kept in the loop as we've, had this board briefing scheduled and whatnot, continuing conversations so that they know where this is at in the process.
Are we gonna talk about, because one thing I am remembering from that letter that I really hadn't heard before was like, it wasn't clear to me where the money was coming from, but it was like some suggestion that there'd be a fund for purchasing development rights. Now, I know we talked about that in the conversation about a potential conservation REIT tax, but that's not what they were talking about. It wasn't clear what they were talking about. I couldn't figure out where the money was coming from with respect to what they thought would be this PDR program.
There are a lot of ideas, and what I'm encouraging them to do is, let me collect those ideas, and the grant that we received will be an opportunity to really vet them,
So we'll be
research
talking
them,
about
and so I think there are a lot of great ideas out there, and so it's like, well, which one is going to be the best fit for Thurston County? And so we're doing that right now.
Do share a little bit about the grant while we have just a minute or two.
Yeah, so Thurston County was successful in being one of the award recipients of a National Estuary Program grant called the Habitat Strategic Initiative. So only about half the applicants got funding. We are one of them. We are working with 7 coalition partners here in Thurston County to basically look at updates to our conservation programs. So things that have been on the docket for a while, like updating transfer development rights, purchases of development rights, open space, identifying new funding solutions, because there are a lot of new and exciting funding solutions out there. And so the money we received, which is about $385,000, will allow us to hire a professional team, a consultant team, to work with us in updating those programs. And so as we have more information, I'll be excited to share it. And in the meantime, if you have ideas, please send them my way.
How much?
$385,000 for external consultants.
Yeah, no, it's really exciting.
That's a huge chunk of money.
Congratulations, good job.
So, and our partners include the Conservation District, Wazoo Extension, American Farmland Trust,
wonderful.
Fish and Wildlife Partners, and Coastal Partners. So it's a really great group.
Wow.
As well as the cities.
So we'll see you guys at noon, or see the commissioners at noon
Yep, see
again.
you, Nan.
Yeah,
Right.
okay, thank you, we're adjourned.
Thanks.